I think that, the idea that victims' families have a voice and should have a voice is something that's important to all victims of crimes. And that, the Gonzalez family has done a wonderful job of doing that, putting the word out. I feel, saving the Idaho house, getting there. The university was making plans to demolish the house. The families always thought it was a massive piece of evidence in this case. And, we voiced our concern of us and some of the other families as well. And now it's not being demolished, which is important because a few weeks ago, they sent some more investigators back in there to gather some additional information. And so, it's
Welcome to Parawomen Radio. Except it is going to be demolished, I think, in 2 more weeks. This is day 24 of Livemas. We're going to go back into the Idaho 4 case today. We haven't been in this case in almost a year, it looks like. Or not a year, probably like 10 months. Anyway, we're going to talk about the surviving roommates, and we're going to talk about the house, because I like to talk about a good haunted house or possible haunted house. If you could give this live a thumbs up, helps us dance out into the algorithm, bring more people back to the party. It's just a free way to help us out, and it's really appreciated. And if you like my content, please consider subscribing, because we would love to have you with us. So let's talk about the house to begin with. They're talking about demolishing it. However, the family does not want that to happen. What do you guys think? Do you think it should be torn down before the trial? I don't think it should be. It's evidence. It just really should not be. Just don't tear it down till the trial. And the trial's supposed to be in 2024, which I predict is going to be the biggest case of 2024. I feel like the biggest case of 2023 was the Johnny Depp, and then the 2024 will be the Idaho 4 Koberger case. What do you think is going to be the biggest case of 2024? And do you think it should be torn down?
The house on King Road stood much as it has for the better part of a year, boarded up, quiet, except for security posted outside, though that won't be for much longer.
So we truly believe that it's time. It's time for the house to come down.
The University of Idaho now owns the house on King Road and says it'll be demolished December 28th. The university says this is a step forward in healing for students and the community.
The area where the house is located is very dense with students, and we wanted to do it at a time when they wouldn't have to be there to be a part of that. And so that fell to the winter break, making the most sense.
But the family of Kaylee Gonzalez, one of the 4 students killed, is asking why demolition can't wait until after trial, though that date is still undetermined. In a statement, the family said in part, "This is one of the most horrific crimes in the history of Idaho, and the University of Idaho wants to destroy the most critical pieces of evidence in the case." The family says they have stressed to the university and prosecutors the emotional and evidentiary importance of the house. Quote, "No one seems to care enough. It's like screaming into a void."
The house is a daily reminder. We'll never forget. We can't forget, but we can heal. We can come together, and we can begin to move into the next phase.
In October, the FBI took several photos and 3D scans of the house for prosecutors. The defense has also been seen collecting evidence inside, though not when Creme 2 was on scene Friday.
Generally speaking,
they also are reporting that the Koberger defense team is going to go back into the house to get their final evidence, I guess. Let's take a look at that. This is Parawoman Radio, day 24 of Livemas. If you could give this live a thumbs up, helps us dance out into the algorithm and bring more people back to our party. And if you want to help our channel out, it's just a free way to help us out, and it's really, really appreciated.
On King Road, we're going to be joined right now by our friend, legal analyst, criminal defense attorney Nicole DeBoard, and she joins us.
And as always, I will put the links to the videos that we watch in the description down below. We never watch the entire video, so that you will go to the channel and watch it yourself for your own research and also for the channel's benefit.
And Nicole, thanks for being with us here. We rely on your expertise and insight so much in the Koberger case. Now, my question to you is, why would the defense need to visit the home one final time before it gets demolished? Strategically speaking, what is it?
I'm just really against it being demolished. There's like absolutely the only point in it being demolished is because this is why I think, because the university doesn't want that blemish on their campus anymore, even though it might be off campus, but they don't want that around anymore. I'm sure it's like the student rate has gone way down. I'm sure a student attendance, students applying, I'm sure it's way down, and they just want this to be over with.
For them to do that?
Just sometimes being in the physical space is incredibly helpful. And it's they're going to be the last time. If the home is going to be destroyed, they will never, of course, be able to access that space again. You can look at pictures, but it's just not the same as being there. The things that you can notice as you're trying to put the case together are just different than you can possibly tell from photographs. So it's a good idea just to be on the safe side for the defense team. And quite frankly, I feel certain that the prosecution has done the same, to access that scene to make sure that they know what the space feels like. It's hard to get an idea for dimensions when you're not standing in the room, and just look around, take it in, understand exactly where things are in relation to each other.
You say on the safe side, though, I mean, wouldn't they have already gotten everything they need? I mean, what would be, to look for now? It seems like this is somewhat of a, I don't know, last ditch. Would you describe it that way or no?
I really wouldn't.
I wouldn't describe it that way either. They're just dotting their I's and crossing their T's. I mean, they get one. I'm sure if you were given the opportunity to go in there one last time, you would do it. Would you be like, nah, I got all I need? No, you would go in.
I don't think that they're looking for a particular piece of information or a particular piece of evidence. I think what they want to make sure that they've done is understand the space, because as trial happens, you're going to have witnesses testify about things that they uncovered at a certain location in the home, or you're going to hear testimony about where things may have happened in the home. And looking at images of it is just not the same as being in the physical space. And the attorneys aren't going to be able to do that again once the home is destroyed, of course.
Yeah. So say hypothetically they did find something advantageous or disadvantageous.
Does that happen in real life? If you're like somebody, I worked in the legal field for like a year, but it never happened when I was working in it. But does it happen in real life where like during a trial, they'll go visit the location that it happened? Because I'm watching that fake trial show and they're like in the factory visiting it. Does that happen for real? But can you imagine going on a field trip to that house? Any house. I'm so fascinated by murder houses.
Just to their case, will it be admissible, you think?
It possibly could be, but again, I would be surprised if they're actually looking for a piece of evidence or something in particular related to the visit. I suspect they really want to understand, what you can see from one angle if you're standing in one room, what you might be able to hear from one location to the other. They might want to see what the lighting is like inside the house, when the lights are on, when the lights are off.
It would be interesting to see what the lighting was like. Hold on a second, I have to cough. What the lighting would be like by Dylan's room when there's no, like, I guess, like, just put the sign, light up the sign that was on and see what it looks like. Could Brian have seen her?
I think there are all kinds of things that you can take in if you're just present in a space, as opposed to relying on someone documenting that space in a report, even with solid measurements, even with the three-dimensional engineering type devices that they have to reconstruct a space. really looking at pictures or secondhand information about what the space is like is, again, just really not the same. It's sort of a second place replacement.
Yeah.
We do have.
It just makes no sense that they're tearing it down. I know I keep saying that, and I will probably say it over and over again, but it makes no sense to me whatsoever. So we're going to read a news article that I found. This is from a realtor.com, and this is what will happen to the Idaho 4 home where 4 college students were murdered. Now, this was written last year, January 6, 2023, so it is a little bit older, but this part interested me. What happens to murder homes? So a professional cleaning crew had begun removing the biohazardous materials and forensic chemicals from the house last Friday. So this was written in January 2023. So this happened in January, but their work was halted after Kohlberger was arrested. According to the Idaho Statesman, the chemicals were used by law enforcement during evidence processing. Once remediation is done, then the homeowner's insurance company will do their walkthrough and inspection on it. So this probably has already happened, and there's no timeline for any of this. In notorious tragedies like this, homes can be renovated or altered to make it harder for true crime fans to identify the properties. They can be sold or rented out, or in rare cases, they are bulldozed and turned into memorials or left vacant. So this is a rare case that it's going to be bulldozed. The latter is what happened to serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer's Milwaukee apartment building, which was razed and is now an empty lot. This is pretty hideous, said Randall Bell, CEO of Landmark Research Company, a company that specializes in the analysis of real estate properties following disasters and crimes. He emphasizes that anytime you have an extreme crime involving young adults or children, it really amplifies the negative emotions. I would agree with that. Typically, priorities like this rent out or sell at a steep discount, anywhere from $10,000 to $25,000 off the market value, depending on the details of the atrocity. And that's true too, because I keep thinking back to the Watts house. It's been repainted. It was reduced. Tenants tend to be less attracted to real estate than a buyer or owner, and they're typically not sinking their life savings into these homes and often won't be there as long as homeowners. They're as long as homeowners. As for who would want to live in a home where quadruple homicide occurred, my dad used to say you can sell or rent anything, at least at the right price, says Bell. You cut the price and people tolerate a lot of things when they're getting a good deal. You do that. You cut the price if you're renting, and then, once people are successful and they're renting, and then you put it back up to normal. Are the discounts worth living in an infamous home? Would you live in an infamous home? I would. But if I thought it was haunted, I'd be out of there. The price cuts might not be worth the hassle. Whoever moves into the house next will likely have to deal with unwanted attention from looky-loos and true crime fanatics. That would actually be the worst part of it, the looky-loos, not the ghost. Bell had a client whose home was rumored to have mafia kill room where someone was believed to have been murdered. The owners were plagued by people trying to break into the house in the middle of the night. Yeah, you get the crazy ones that not only want to be looky-loos, they want to be investigator-loos. Their garage was burned down by intruders who broke in, drew a pentagram on the floor, and lit candles, which were believed to be the cause of the fire. They are attracted to the macabre and to sites of tragedy and Satan worship, says Bell. However, after enough time has passed, people's memories fade and the tragedies become local lore. The attention often, but not always, dims. Isn't that what I just said? Depending on how gruesome the crime was and how many people were involved. The home's location in a college town might also help to speed the process along. There's turnover, says Bell. The college students come and go, and it flushes the system a little bit. I think that time would be on that house's side if they just gave it time, but I don't think I think the owners of the house have signed it over to the college. So at this point, it's pretty much the college that wants to be rid of it. I did some searches like is the Idaho 4K house haunted? Nobody's saying anything like that. Or actually, I don't know if they're saying it over on YouTube. I actually did the search for news articles. Let's see if they're saying it over on YouTube. Make sure you're seeing what I'm looking at. Okay. Let's see. Idaho 4 booms. What does that mean? Booms. Brian Koberger investigation, Moscow. I don't know what that means. Booms. Is that a new word for a new word the kids are using? Yeah, nobody's saying it. Wait, Zach Baggins. Oh. Yeah, that's something else. I always thought this was interesting. These
November 12th, 2020.
These drawings that show us like what probably happened.
Kernodle receives a DoorDash delivery. 4:04 a.m. 4 minutes later, Brian Koberger enters the King Road neighborhood for the 4th time. He turns east onto Queen Road, but upon failing to park, he turns around and heads west towards the intersection, where he completes a 3-point turn and parks somewhere in this area. Around this time, the suspect enters the King Road residence through a ground-level sliding door on the 2nd floor.
When was this? So do we believe now that that's where he entered? I have not been keeping up with this case, so this is all like going to be new and fresh to me. But I feel like I need to get reacquainted with it. So we're going to be covering it a little bit. I've decided I was going to do a 24 hours of the Watts case on from Christmas Eve to Christmas. And I was like, I don't think I want to do that. So I'm going to do it from New Year's Eve to New Year's. Starting at 12 noon on New Year's Eve, we're going to start a 24 hours of the Watts case. Everything I have on the Watts case for 24 hours. I hope you'll like that. This is Parawoman Radio and day 24 of Live Miss. We're looking at the Koberger case. We're popping in really quick to see what they believe actually happened, if Koberger is indeed the one who did this. Oops, I think the sounds.
He takes the stairs to the 3rd floor, goes down the hall, and checks Kaylee's bedroom, where he finds Kaylee's dog. The surviving roommate, Dylan Mortensen, on the 2nd floor, is awoken by what sounds like Kaylee Goncalves playing with her dog on the 3rd floor. Just a while later, she hears what she thinks is Kaylee Goncalves saying, quote, "There is someone here." Dylan looks out of her room but does not see anything. Around this time, the suspect goes to Madison's bedroom and kills her and Kaylee with a knife.
Oh, so the dog is like right. I always envision, I don't know why, but I always envisioned the dog being more here, not like down here and around the corner. But it makes sense why the dog would have encountered him first.
4:12 a.m. At this moment, Zana Kernodle is possibly awake, as her cell phone records show she was using TikTok around the same time. The suspect goes downstairs and enters Zana's bedroom. Around this moment, Dylan Mortensen hears crying coming from Zana Kernodle's room. She also hears a male voice saying something to the effect of, quote, "It's okay. I'm going to help you." Dylan opens her door for the second time but does not see anything. 4:17 a.m. A security camera less than 50 feet away from the west wall of Kernodle's bedroom picks up distorted audio of what sounds like a whimper, followed by a loud thud. Zana and Ethan are most likely killed around this time.
That's a very disturbing audio, and it's very disturbing to see the blood coming out of Xana's room as well. This is a very disturbing case. Let's see what everyone's saying over in chat. Hi, Dana. How are you? Perry says, I think that's where he was seen leaving, or at least heading, when Dylan, the roommate, spotted him. Yeah, I think so too. This is going to lead us really well into the roommates, the surviving roommates. So let's finish this up, and then we'll move over to the surviving roommates and what's going on with them.
Opens her bedroom door for the third time, and this time she sees a man dressed in black, wearing a mask, walking towards her. She stands frozen in shock as he walks past her and leaves through the kitchen's sliding window. After seeing this...
So he comes from here and kind of would have to like turn and walk, right? And she, or would he walk straight up? Is that what would have happened?
This man, she locks herself in her room. She does not recognize the man, but later...
There's no door there. He would have had to come down the hallway.
Later describes him as tall, around 5'10", not very muscular, and with bushy eyebrows. However, she does not call the police at that time. 4:20 a.m. The suspect goes back to his car and leaves the crime scene at a high rate of speed via Walenta Drive. But this is not the end of his journey. Approximately 3 hours and 30 minutes after getting back to his residence, Steptoe Village Apartments, Kohberger goes to the crime scene again. According to cell phone records, at 9 a.m. on the very same day, Kohberger leaves his apartment. 12 minutes later, he is back at the King Road residence.
He was probably shocked when he saw nothing happening. He was like, what's going on? Like Gypsy Rose decided to probably sound the alarm. I think he probably somehow sounded the alarm, but I can't prove it.
Utilizes the cellular resources that provide coverage to the King Road residence for another 9 minutes before he returns to his place at 9:32 a.m.
Okay, so let's move over into the roommates. I will put the link in the description. Perry says, it's horrible to think that at least 2 of the victims were awake when it happened. Yeah, it's awful. And it's awful. People are attacking these 2 roommates before we even know the full story. I think that's awful too. Not giving these 2 people some grace until we actually hear what's happening. We do weird things. We do weird, wild things when our mind is under stress. Let me pull up what I have on this on the kids, on the surviving students. Oh, I didn't. So we know that the Kohberger team has tried to subpoena the 2 surviving witnesses to be to testify for Brian. I don't know, and they're fighting it. So let's look at this. I don't know anything about this. Do you guys know about this? About them trying to make the 2 remaining witnesses testify? I mean, I get it. I want to know the story, but I feel like that's not something that's normally done.
Or so. Where in the timeline can you tell us did Kohberger come onto the radar?
So that's all part of those pieces that we have to hold until we can release information with the, after he gets to Idaho and the release of that information. But we're bound to hold that.
But when you asked for public information about that Elantra, you said the occupants of that car may have critical information. It was plural. Was there a reason for that?
Well, it's part of our investigation. I said early on that we're not going to let any stone go unturned. And I meant that. And we're following up on everything, just like we're in this new phase now. And we're going to follow up to get to know who he is and everything about him that we can.
There are reports that the Elantra was followed across the country. Can you elaborate on that or speak to that? And also reports of DNA, his DNA at the murder scene.
All those facts are still sealed. They will come out. I know people are anxious for that. And
this was 3 weeks ago, so it's pretty
we'll have the answers to that.
Date.
But in the time that we can give it. So I ask once again, just be patient. I know I've asked that a lot of times, but we are bound by the law now.
It's been reported.
How do you feel like this police team is doing in their investigation? Perry says, I think Dylan probably believed there had been some kind of altercation or fight when she seen the guy leave and didn't hear anything else. She thought it was all over. Yeah. And I know 100% that she didn't think that how many? 4 people were murdered, 3 of her roommates. Ignore the random. Oh no, it's okay. I don't spell check people or grammar or anything like that.
And we have sources who've told us that Kohberger asked, was anyone else arrested upon his arrest? Have you been able to...
Do you feel like that was Kohberger's way of throwing the investigator off he said, did you arrest the others or whatever he said? Do you think that was so that, or did you arrest anyone else or something like that? Do you think there was anybody else? I don't.
Gather information about when he was taken into custody.
All that information will come out as well. It's part of that investigation. It's part of that next step. So
okay, the car, the white Elantra, 2015. Is it the car? And is the search over now for any more white Elantras?
We believe it is the car.
Okay. Is it in Pennsylvania then?
Yes.
Okay. And is it done being processed?
I don't know if it's done, but it will be processed.
Okay. As you know, I was over at Wazoo yesterday at Kohberger's apartment as the search warrant was being executed. A lot of evidence coming out of there. Can you talk about, what might be valuable?
I think every piece is valuable. And I don't even know what was collected at this point in time. And that's part of that further investigation that we're going to hold. But I know that the search warrant was served there.
We know that the murder weapon has not been found. Is there suspicion that it could have been there?
We don't know. Like I said, we're collecting everything. We're doing our due diligence. And that's why we get these search warrants so that everything is secured.
I don't feel like this is new because unless they just researched his apartment, because they searched his apartment a while ago. This is Parawoman Radio, and I'm Amy. Got to give my computer a minute to catch up. I've got a lot of screens open. This is day 24 of Livemas. We are covering the Bryan Kohberger case. We're talking about the home being demolished and the surviving roommates. Why won't this let me?
With law enforcement is all part of understanding what occurred and the timeline of what occurred.
He told me the 2 roommates may have critical information.
The investigators are already talking to them and trying to get from them everything they can possibly remember about what they may have seen, what they may have heard, what
Right.
they're
I feel like this is not new information. So I will put that link to that video in the description. And if you want to watch all of it, you can. So I found this news report where the surviving University of Idaho roommates Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funke are now a year after the grisly murder. So this was written in November. It's pretty new. Okay. You can't tell me that my computer isn't reading me, because yesterday we did a paranormal show on the mirrored men and ghost hunting equipment, and there, look at what I've got in my ads. I think the cell data will be very, oh yes, I think it's going to be very compelling evidence, Perry. No, I don't have a Discord channel. I am flirting with a Patreon channel. I just can't decide what I want to do. I'm kind of lost over here on my channel, just trying new things to see what works and what doesn't work, and doing lives and trying to build my audience. And so no, I don't yet, but it's on my radar. I just don't know which people prefer, Discord or Patreon. And I think there's a few more, but I'm also looking at a few products for our channel to sell, trying to look for something good, unique, but I haven't found that yet either. Okay, so if you guys could give this live a thumbs up, though, it helps. It's just a free way to help my channel out, and it's really appreciated. And even if you don't like the live, like, give me a thumbs down, but please tell me why you don't like it. I get some hate watchers. I think I've got 3 hate watchers, because I get 3 dislikes on just about every one of my videos. So somebody's out there doesn't like me, but if you could tell me why, it would help me improve my content. So here we go. It has been 1 year since the murders of University of Idaho students in their off-campus home, with their 2 surviving roommates keeping low profiles since the gruesome slayings. Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funke were both home. I knew a Bethany Frankel, so I always want to say Frankel. Bethany Funke were both home when criminology student Brian Koberger allegedly snuck into the Moscow house on November 13th, 2022, and stabbed their roommates Maddie Mogan, Kaylee Gungalvis, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. You would think Xana Kernodle would be the one that trips me up, but it's Kaylee Gungalvis. I even listened to it being said a few times before I came on. Mortensen, 21, came face to face with a killer just moments after the bloody slaughter, telling authorities she saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask walking toward the home's back exit just after 4 a.m., according to a police report. The 2 women were also allegedly texting each other while the murders were happening, and received an onslaught of hatred online after it was revealed that no one called 911 for several hours after the quadruple slayings happened. Mortensen has reportedly been isolating herself. She was seen briefly after the murders running near her parents' home, but has avoided media attention since. Yeah, I haven't seen too much on either one of them. Have you? Let's see. I've never used Patreon. Discord is good for just posting information. Oh, okay. I'll look into it and see, and sharing. I'll look into it. Somebody hacked my Facebook account, our Parawomen Facebook account. I'm trying to get it back, but the people that I've asked to recover it scammed me. So if you know how to recover a Facebook account, please contact me. Amy F. Williamson or Parawomen Radio, both at gmail.com are my email addresses. I'm like going crazy. I still have my large Facebook account, my main one, which has like 5,000 or 6,000 people on it. But our little channels, our Facebook, our YouTube, our Parawomen Radio's Facebook group was hacked, and we had 1,000 people over there. But we are streaming over to Facebook today. Hi, Facebook. And we're streaming over to YouTube. Hi, YouTube. And we're streaming over to X. Hi, X. In the beginning, and we're covering the Idaho 4 case, and we're looking into what is new with the roommates. In the beginning, weeks after those homicides, she was basically dogpiled on social media. She sure was. Private investigator J. Ruben Appleman told News Nation this was part of the trauma that she experienced. Dylan herself has retreated from the public eye. Very few people see her. So my question was, is she back at college? But obviously she is not. Mortensen's father reportedly told Appleman that his daughter is in trauma therapy of sorts. She's getting help from the spiritual community, the private investigator said. She's doing what she can without going into public. Funk 21 has kept an even lower profile. Yeah, she has. I don't think anyone's seen her. And now lives in Nevada. She has only been heard from when her attorneys filed a motion earlier this year to dismiss a subpoena that would force her to testify as part of murder suspect Brian Koberger's defense. Funk, however, later agreed to sit down for an interview with the suspect's attorney. It is unclear if this happened or what came out of it. It is still a mystery why Mortensen and Funk took so long to call the police on the night of the slayings. We don't know if it was an issue of intoxication or of fear, or both. An Idaho law enforcement source told the Post in January, you don't really think as clearly when you're on substances, obviously. According to a newly released police affidavit, Mortensen thought she heard Gonzalez Kaylee saying, there's someone here, followed by the sound of crying from Kernoodle's room and a male voice ringing out, it's okay, I'm going to help you. I'm sure she has nightmares about that voice. Early police reports said the roommates who lived on the first and second floors of the house had friends come to the scene before one of them finally called 911. The pair were quickly ruled out as suspects, cops said. In December, Mortensen and Funk got matching tattoos on the back of their elbows to honor their murdered roommates. The first letter of each of their friends' first names surrounded by angel wings. Mortensen said her 4 roommates changed the way I look at life. Funk wrote that the victims were all gifts to the world in your own special way, and it just won't be the same without you. I can't imagine going through this. I really can't. How are you guys feeling about the surviving roommates? Trying to take the temperature of my audience. Are you feeling like they did something shady? Or are you feeling sympathy for them? I'm feeling sympathy for them. But that's always usually my way, is sympathy first. Well, shock and then sympathy. Let's look at this last news report that I have on them. Let me look and see what's happening in the chat. Bundy committed an almost identical crime. He was disturbed by a returning female roommate. Oh yeah, when he was at the sorority house. Oh, I'm embarrassed to say I fell for something, and it's this scammer, and they've taken over my page, and they're acting like I stole content and was penalized, and so they took my page, and that's what they're telling everybody, but it's not true. And now they're replacing my content with pictures of people. It looks like maybe in India and stuff. So I don't know who did it, but they've only changed the name on the page. It's still Parawoman Radio, but they've put a new name up. It's just, and they're inviting they're inviting people to join. It's just, and then the person that I asked to help, they said they would recover it. I paid them $55, and they came back and said they wanted 70 more because my scammers were indeed using a high whatever scamming equipment, and they needed more money. So I knew I was scammed by the anti-scammers. So what happened was inconceivable and unimaginable. They couldn't have suspected anything. So nightmarish. I know, it's so scammers. Scammers are professionals. They just are like, why? But anyway, yeah, if anybody is listening to this and you know anything about how I can recover it, please help a girl out. Let me show you what they've done over on Facebook. Get rid of all this is it. So this is what they've done to my Facebook. You can tell here. You can tell that up here, it's still Parawoman Radio. They have done this, blocked your account, see why. And I can't get into it. And they have been, if you get this message that says your page will be disabled because someone has reported you for not complying with the terms of service. If you believe your account was reported by mistake, re-verify your account to avoid getting banned. Confirm your account here. And then I did it. I feel so stupid. So don't do it, guys. Don't fall for it. And if you know how I can get my account back, please let me know. Because it's so, makes me like, well, first I cried and now I'm angry. And now I'm just trying to figure out why people do these type of things. I don't know. But this will be the end of today's live. We're going to do a 24-hour Watts case from 12 noon on New Year's Eve to 12 noon on Christmas Day or New Year's Day. Man, can you imagine if I did a 12 noon on New Year's Eve to Christmas Day? That would be a full year almost. Yeah, no, we're doing a full 24 hours on the Watts case, though. Everything I have on the Watts case, we're going to be watching. I won't be on the live 24/7, obviously. I will go to sleep, but I will keep it going so that you can get all your Watts content needs from Parawoman Radio. If you want to watch more on the Idaho 4 case, I did this comparison of the Dieter Watts and the Murphy Gonsalves, the dogs in the murder cases. The Dieter Watts was in the Watts case, and Murphy was Kaylee's dog. He has a Instagram page that the boyfriend, can't remember his name, keeps up on. Wanted to show you that. So if you wanted to watch a little more Watts or Idaho 4 content, something cute, I wanted to throw that out. because it's Christmas Eve, y'all. It's Christmas Eve. What is everyone doing? Are you having a good Christmas? Are you with your family and friends? Because that's really the only thing that matters. It's the only thing this walk, I've realized that the only thing matters is your health and your happiness. If you're having a good Christmas or holiday season, let's call it that, and if you celebrate Christmas, I hope it's going really well. And if it is going really well, please, please, please share that happiness with others, because for some, this is the hardest time of year. And you need to take care of yourself. I don't care what anybody says. You must take care of yourself first. So promise me you'll take care of yourself first. If you're by yourself, do something nice for yourself. Pour yourself a glass of wine. Have a chocolate. Sit down and watch a happy movie. Sit down and watch a scary movie. Just be good to yourself. Promise me you're going to be good to yourself. And if you're being good to yourself and you're happy, share it with others. And if nobody's told you this today, I'm telling you this. I love you and I appreciate you. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys. Oh, before I go, I wanted to say, Perry, thank you for being in here. I wanted to say that, oh, wait, no. You said you were going to chill with your partner and kids, might go to midnight mass tonight. So have a good Christmas Eve. My most favorite time to go to church is on Christmas Eve because I love the candlelight ceremonies. So enjoy your Christmas too, Perry. And everybody else, enjoy your Christmas. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.